Two nations, one region, and two wildly different stories. Singapore, a city-state with no natural resources, transformed into a global economic powerhouse, a shining beacon of efficiency and innovation. Meanwhile, the Philippines, rich in natural beauty and talent, faces a complex journey, balancing challenges like poverty and infrastructure gaps with immense potential for growth. How did one become a world leader in finance and trade while the other charts its unique path to development? What lies behind these contrasting tales? From Singapore's visionary planning and business-friendly policies to the Philippines' dynamic consumer market and rising industries, the lessons are as inspiring as they are thought-provoking. These stories of triumph, struggle, and opportunity aren't just about economies. They're about resilience, adaptability, and the drive to succeed against the odds. In this video, we'll unravel the shared histories, highlight the pivotal moments, and reveal what the future holds for these Southeast Asian neighbors. Stick around for insights that might just change how you view economic success. Like, share, and subscribe to Economy Explorer, and don't miss a second of this fascinating journey. Similarities, a tale of two tigers. At first glance, Singapore and the Philippines may seem worlds apart in their economic trajectories, but dig a little deeper and you'll find a shared foundation rooted in resilience. Both nations emerged from the shadow of colonialism with limited resources and significant hurdles. Singapore, a small island with no natural wealth, and the Philippines, an archipelago blessed with biodiversity but burdened by systemic challenges, faced the daunting task of rebuilding from scratch. Their shared history as former colonies set the stage for an economic narrative fueled by determination. One striking similarity is their reliance on export-driven growth to kickstart their economies. Singapore embraced manufacturing and high-tech industries, leveraging its strategic location to transform into a global trade hub. The Philippines followed a similar export-oriented strategy, focusing on manufacturing, agriculture, and services like business process outsourcing, which now accounts for billions in annual revenue. This shared focus on integrating into global markets helped both nations carve out their niche in international trade. Another common thread lies in the role of strong government intervention. In both cases, policymakers prioritized infrastructure and education. Singapore invested heavily in its port facilities and technology parks, while the Philippines expanded its road networks and focused on increasing literacy rates. Both nations understood the critical link between human capital and economic growth, channeling resources into building an educated and skilled workforce. Despite these similarities, their outcomes diverged significantly. So, what enabled Singapore to surge ahead while the Philippines struggled to keep pace? That's where the contrasts begin to unfold, offering deeper insights into the strategies that shaped their destinies. Stay tuned as we dive into the makings of Singapore's economic miracle. Singapore's economic miracle. In 1965, Singapore faced an uncertain future. Newly independent and bereft of natural resources, the tiny island state was a patchwork of poverty, ethnic tension, and unemployment. Yet, within decades, it would defy all odds to become one of the world's most advanced economies. How did this happen? The answer lies in a series of bold decisions and meticulous planning that transformed a vulnerable nation into a model of efficiency and prosperity. Singapore's strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes became its lifeline. Recognizing this, the government under Lee Kuan Yew prioritized the development of a world-class port, turning Singapore into a global hub for shipping and logistics. The Port of Singapore, now one of the busiest in the world, wasn't just a project. It was a statement of ambition, signaling that Singapore was open for business on the global stage. Foreign investment became another pillar of Singapore's success. The government created an environment that was not only business-friendly, but actively enticing to global corporations. With low taxes, anti-corruption policies, and streamlined bureaucracy, Singapore became a magnet for multinational companies looking for a stable and efficient base in Asia. Over time, this approach cultivated industries such as electronics, biotechnology, and finance, elevating Singapore into a global economic powerhouse. But infrastructure and policies alone weren't enough. Singapore's investment in its people was equally transformative. From the outset, the government poured resources into education and skills development, creating a highly skilled workforce capable of meeting the demands of a modern economy. Today, Singapore boasts one of the most educated populations in the world, a cornerstone of its economic resilience. As we've seen, Singapore's rise is no accident. It's a testament to visionary governance and strategic planning. But how does this story contrast with the Philippines' ongoing journey? Let's explore the challenges and opportunities that define the Philippines' economic path. The Philippines' journey. In the aftermath of independence in 1946, the Philippines was often regarded as one of Asia's brightest economic prospects. With vast natural resources, a fertile agricultural base, and a young, vibrant workforce, it seemed poised for prosperity. Yet, decades later, the nation's economic journey tells a story of promise tempered by persistent challenges. What slowed the rise of this resource-rich nation, and what opportunities lie ahead? One of the Philippines' greatest strengths, and paradoxically, its biggest challenge, is its geography. With over 7,600 islands, the archipelago is home to breathtaking biodiversity and immense tourism potential. Yet, this fragmented geography has also made infrastructure development a logistical nightmare. Poor connectivity between islands has slowed the movement of goods and people, creating barriers to nationwide economic integration. Imagine running a business where your products need to cross seas just to reach the nearest market, a daily struggle for many Filipino entrepreneurs. Another defining factor has been the country's reliance on remittances from overseas Filipino workers, OFWs. While this diaspora-driven income injects billions into the economy annually, it also underscores the lack of domestic job opportunities. The Philippines has some of the most talented and hardworking individuals, yet many must leave their homeland to secure a better future, depriving the country of much-needed talent in key industries. Despite these challenges, the Philippines is a nation brimming with potential. Its burgeoning middle class, fueled by the rapid growth of sectors like business process outsourcing and tourism, represents a powerful engine for domestic consumption. Coupled with an increasingly tech-savvy population and government reforms aimed at improving infrastructure, the Philippines stands on the cusp of significant growth. But how does this path compare with Singapore's tightly controlled model of efficiency? Let's dive deeper into the contrasts that define these two economic journeys. Contrasting paths. Singapore and the Philippines, despite their shared regional roots and early struggles, took economic paths as different as night and day. Picture this. One emerges as a gleaming city-state synonymous with precision and prosperity, while the other is a sprawling archipelago battling systemic challenges yet brimming with untapped potential. What caused this divergence? Singapore's success lies in its unwavering focus on efficiency and long-term planning. With limited land and no natural resources, Singapore turned itself into a hub for high-value industries like finance, technology, and logistics. Its export-driven model was meticulously curated, ensuring minimal waste and maximum productivity. For example, Singapore's Housing Development Board didn't just provide affordable housing. It created communities that were integrated with public transport, workplaces, and green spaces, maximizing land use and enhancing quality of life. Every decision served a purpose, immediate results paired with long-term sustainability. The Philippines, in contrast, grappled with a decentralized system and uneven development across its many islands. While its economy relies heavily on agriculture, remittances, and services, inconsistent policies and a slower pace of infrastructure development hindered its ability to compete on a global scale. Unlike Singapore's centralized approach, the Philippines' economic strategies often varied by region, creating gaps in implementation and outcomes. Social mobility offers another stark contrast. Singapore's heavy investment in education and meritocracy propelled its workforce into high-value jobs, significantly reducing income inequality. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, systemic poverty persists, despite a growing middle class. High population growth and uneven access to quality education have slowed efforts to close the wealth gap. What can emerging economies learn from these vastly different models? Could a blend of Singapore's strategic governance and the Philippines' resource richness offer a new blueprint for development? Stay with us as we explore the lessons these nations have to teach. Lessons for emerging economies. Imagine a small, resource-scarce nation becoming a beacon of global trade while its larger, resource-rich neighbor struggles to fully capitalize on its potential. The stories of Singapore and the Philippines offer emerging economies a treasure trove of lessons, blueprints for success and cautionary tales alike. The first and perhaps most striking takeaway is the power of strategic governance. Singapore's ascent wasn't accidental. It was the result of policies that prioritized efficiency, transparency, and long-term vision. Leaders across emerging markets can learn from its example. Invest in infrastructure that fosters growth, from ports to digital networks, and ensure that these investments align with broader economic goals. Imagine the Philippines' natural beauty paired with Singapore's world-class urban planning. It's a thought experiment that sparks endless possibilities. Another critical lesson is the importance of human capital. Singapore's focus on education and skill development transformed its workforce into a competitive advantage, capable of driving industries from biotechnology to financial services. For countries with large populations like the Philippines, the potential is immense. What if every Filipino had access to the same level of education and job opportunities that Singaporeans enjoy? The ripple effect on the economy would be extraordinary. Emerging economies should also balance diversification with specialization. Singapore excelled by carving out niches in global trade and finance, but it's important not to put all eggs in one basket. The Philippines, with its diverse resources, demonstrates the value of pursuing multiple industries, tourism, agriculture, and outsourcing, simultaneously. Striking the right balance between these approaches could be a game changer. Lastly, the contrast between these two nations underscores the necessity of inclusive growth. Economic policies must address inequality and create pathways for upward mobility. Whether it's Singapore's meritocracy or the Philippines' potential to uplift its vast labor force, the ultimate goal should be shared prosperity. But here's the real question. How can today's emerging economies blend these lessons into their own unique formulas for success? The answer might redefine global development. Pathways to prosperity. Lessons for emerging economies. As we step back and reflect on the journeys of Singapore and the Philippines, we're reminded that the path to prosperity is never a straight line. It's a series of choices, challenges, and adaptations. Singapore's meteoric rise from a struggling city-state to a global economic leader proves the power of strategic planning and visionary leadership. Meanwhile, the Philippines, with its rich natural and human resources, shows us that potential alone isn't enough without the infrastructure and policies to unlock it. Emerging economies face a world of opportunities, but they must ask themselves hard questions. What industries can they champion to gain a foothold in the global market? How can they foster inclusive growth that benefits every citizen? And, perhaps most importantly, what lessons can they adopt from the successes and struggles of others? The answers to these questions hold the key to reshaping their futures. But this is not just a story about governments and policies. It's about people. It's about you, your communities, and the potential within every nation to rise above its limitations. So, what do you think? Which lessons resonate most with your vision for economic success? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Economy Explorer. Watch one of the suggested videos on the screen to continue this journey with us. Thank you for being a part of our channel, and we'll see you next time.